Hi everyone, my name is Tijen Onaran. I'm the founder of Global Digital Women GDW, which is a company empowering and connecting women in the digital area. And I'm so happy to say welcome to you, all of you around the world, hopefully, to our fantastic event together with Lancôme. We are so great to be connected with Lancôme and with the initiative of Lancôme, Write Her Future, the basis of your success. And maybe you saw that we have a special guest today, but I'm coming to her later. So this event will be streamed on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So feel free to drop all of your questions about empowerment, positive mindset, about empowering women, digitalization, also diversity, and all the other stuff in the chat. Maybe on YouTube or also on LinkedIn or on Facebook. I will receive all the questions here right next to me, and I will include all of your questions to our panel discussions later. So, and when you want to post about the event, which will be very great, so then feel free to use all the hashtags here. As you can see, trust yourself. We have a lot of hashtags. Trust yourself, female empowerment, GDW, X Lancôme, and the initiative of Lancôme, Write Her Future. I mentioned it before, we are partnering together with Lancôme, and Lancôme has initiated a great initiative called Write Her Future, and it's all about having a positive mindset. It's all about fostering your career path, and it's all about becoming a female entrepreneur. And we wanted to talk with a very successful digital entrepreneur. She has built a big company years ago. She is very successful on Instagram, and she has a great family, and she has a great network, and she's a great role model. And I'm so happy that she's here. After her talk, after her keynote, we are going to talk to Caroline Lamprecht, which is the managing director of Lancôme. But before that, I want to have on my side here digitally Chiara Ferragni. I'm so happy that you are here. How are
Hi,
you? Are you fine?
I'm okay. I'm super good, actually. I'm super excited to be here. I'm so happy to be able to contribute with my own experience and really like showing how people can really write their own future.
And you are not only a digital entrepreneur, as I mentioned before, you are also a Lancôme muse. So
Yes.
that's why you are here. And I'm so proud that you have said, of course, I wanted to come. And of course, I wanted to share my own experiences when it comes to follow your own career path and to have a positive mindset. So, Chiara, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm super honored to be here. And I think my story is a beautiful success story because from the very beginning, I really believed in myself and in my own vision. And it all started 12 years ago, probably even before. So like since I was like 18, 19, I've always wanted to share my life on social media, on the social media at the time. So I used to always take photos of myself and share them on Flickr and other social media at the time, because I really loved the idea of sharing my word with a lot of other people that I couldn't meet like every day. And 12 years ago, I started the Blonde Salad. I opened my first lifestyle blog, and it was a real revolution for me because that's what really started my whole path, like my whole job path. And at the beginning it was obviously not very easy. I was super successful since the very beginning in some ways, but also there were so many people that really made me feel like an outcast, and I had no connection with the fashion world. It was just my big ambition and my passion for that. So I really, so many times I had so many haters and so many people just like always telling like, oh, nobody's gonna remember her name in 6 months or so. And for me, it was so important to prove those people wrong, and to show them that I could do something successful and powerful because I had my own vision. You know, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that what I was doing was really was beautiful, and I was really like passionate about it. The first years, I think they were the most challenging because, as I said, it was very successful. Like the blog and myself were very successful at times, but at other times, I had so many people really like saying the worst and not really understanding my job as well. But I always tried to kept myself very focused on the final goal, so really eyes on the prize all the time. And I knew inside of me that I was doing something nice, something that I was super happy about. It was also very difficult because I really had to learn to say a lot of no's, a lot of no to a lot of projects, because at the beginning there was like so many people really wanted to reach out and work with me, but so many things were not the perfect fit for me. And it's so important when you do this kind of job to be selective and to only work with partners that really represent you and represent your values. And to do something that you're passionate about. So a lot of people wanted me to work in television, and it was something that I didn't care about. But of course, at the very beginning, saying no was very, very difficult for me because I was so scared to lose my lifetime opportunity, So at the beginning, it was very important to say a lot of no, to stay consistent with myself and my values. But it was like the best decision ever I could do. And I think like in the following years, then I could really see that all the times I said no were really important to really put me to where I am right now, because I've always been consistent. I've always been myself. I've always worked with brands that represent me 100%. And represent my values too. And I think people notice that and also notice how passionate you are for what you're doing. So it was very important for me. And if I think about what really helped me in these years, was really like I trusted, like I believe in visualization so much. So for me, it's always so important to write down my own goals and really having them in mind all the time. So even at times when things are really hard, you really have to just like stick to them and really think about what you're doing it for. What is like the final like goal. So that really, really helped me. And for example, like in my phone, I have like so many notes that I work on every day. Like every day I update them, every day I work on them, every day I'm happy for all the goals that I reached and excited for all the other ones that I still have to reach in this lifetime. I also think it's really important to prioritize your happiness. So really prioritize your things that make you happy, like your friends, your family, and at the same time, really like your mental well-being is super important as well. So really taking care of your mental health as well. For me, since for a few years, like now for 3 years, I think I really started to go to therapy like weekly, and it has really helped me to understand like some things about like my brain and myself, and I'm a little bit obsessed about like always getting to the best version of myself, and so like having therapy and having somebody that can really like make you look at things from a different perspective is so important. And in these years, what really helped me also in harder times, when I was like a little weaker or when things were not going exactly as I planned them to go, it was this kind of invention that I had, but it's not really like an invention. It's something that is like a mental, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like something that I created with my mind to really just help me deal with like situations that I'm not 100% comfortable with. So what really helped me, I created La Chiara che vorrei, which means the Chiara I'd like to be. So I feel like all of us have in our minds an idea of the person we would like to be. And that person doesn't have to be perfect, because we all know that we cannot be perfect all times, but it's just the person that you will be very happy and proud to be every day. And a lot of the features of this person is like things that we already have, and some others are things that we are working on. So a lot of times when I have to take harder decision, or when I feel scared or I feel weak, I always think about what would the Chiara I'd like to be do in this particular situation. And I know what she would do, like she wouldn't be scared, she wouldn't be weak, she would be happy about this, she would love to try something new. And so I always try to act as that person, so like when I'm scared or when I'm weak, I always like try to be like really gives me a lot of energy and really let me go and work towards my goals. So that is also very important.
Great. Thank you so much, Chiara. And
Of
also
course.
that you were so open about like mental health and also going to therapy, because
Mhm.
sometimes I think that people are not so open when it comes to these
No, of
topics.
course.
So
I think it's still like a lot of people are still super scared to talk about it, especially in
absolutely.
Italy. I feel like when I say it, like people were like, "Oh my God, really?" Like it's still very difficult for people to seek for mental like help,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, for example, for women, it's also very yeah complicated to be so open, yeah, when it comes to their mental health. But I wanted to say that during your talk, we received a lot of statements here in the chat, talking about you as a role model. Like, you're so inspiring. That helped me a lot, and thanks
Oh,
for being so open. So I just wanted to share that.
yeah, thank you. I'm so happy. I really have like the most loyal and most beautiful followers. Like, and some of them
Absolutely.
have been following me for 12 years. So like they really
Yeah.
are going with me.
Imagine that. Imagine that. It's amazing. So let's take Caro Lamprecht here on stage. She's general manager of Lancôme. Caro, it was so inspiring, right?
It was incredible. I nearly forgot how to unmute me, Chiara, because it's the first time that I really see you in life. Of course, I have seen a lot of things that you are doing, posting, and I'm like Tijen. I think there are really great things that you're saying about yourself, which are perhaps not always that easy, but which are inspiring and helping others because. It's not always perfect what you see on social media, which I think today is a bit confusing, perhaps sometimes, especially for young people.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for being so open. And
Oh,
it was very inspiring also for me.
thank you.
And someone said, Chiara, Paula said, I still have a pair of boots from your first line. I
Oh
love
my
them.
God. That was like so long ago, maybe 7, 8 years ago. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
it's amazing. As you mentioned, very loyal community. Caro, Chiara, yeah, said a lot of things about taking your own happiness into your hand, and that's right about your initiative, Write Her Future. It's also about taking your happiness in your hand and also your career path into your hand. What helped you taking your happiness in your hand,
I
Caro?
mean, I feel, oh, sorry. Oh, it's Caroline.
First,
Sorry.
Caro, and then you.
No problem. You want to start, Chiara?
No,
You can
no, no, you
start.
go first.
So for me, I'm not sure I can say it was one specific decision, but it was more about a lot of decisions that we have to take every day. And what really triggered me, it's a long time ago. It was when I graduated for high school. We had I had a literature course with Max Frisch, one of the most important Swiss authors, and he said at one point, every human being will sooner or later invent a story that he or she will sell as the story of their life. And I was a bit confused. I said, why do I have to invent a story that exists? Because my life is real. I don't have to invent it. So I digged a bit deeper into this topic, into this philosophy. And what I took out of it is that I'm the writer of my own life every day. So I determine meaning for my life. I choose a purpose. And of course, I'm responsible for my actions. But I understood that everything I do or I don't do, it's a decision I take. So in the end, the life that I'm living is a decision-taking journey, which can change every day or which can change over the years. So what I try to do today is to take decisions consciously and to try to live my life to the fullest because we only have one life. And it's mainly driven everything I decide or I do to make me feel happy and to make people I love and people around me as happy as I can. So it's
Yeah,
not
so
one decision, it's about the everyday decisions that we all have to take.
yeah, and I love the idea of like telling your own story. Yeah. And that's so important when it comes to your career or also your personal life. offline or online. Chiara, you mentioned what happens to you when you are in challenging situations, like you imagine yourself in your future or in the present. But what would you say, what was the most challenging time in your career, and what helped you?
So for me, for sure, it was like the very beginning because I didn't know that could really become a career. I really was super scared that it could also be just like a momentum. So just like a good moment because I was like a fresh face. I was doing something new, but then like I wouldn't have had the chance to really prove myself. So that was like the most like it was exciting, but it was also very scary. I remember like I was always like half happy and half like scared slash sad because I really didn't know. I was not sure about my future. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing something that really made me feel happy, and I love sharing. And I knew inside of me that had a lot of potential, but it was so hard for me to really trust my instincts completely and say like, okay, like don't worry, it's gonna be something powerful, you know. So I had this voice inside of me that was saying, yeah, don't worry, it's gonna be like you're gonna figure it out. Like you're powerful, you're gonna do it. And there's other voice inside of me that was always saying like, no, like just like you just have to enjoy it now because it's not gonna last. Think about something else you might do with your life. So you know, it's always like so hard to trust ourselves 100%. So for me, it was first years were really the most challenging. But what really like helped me was really putting my eyes on the final goal, and also all those people that tried to put me down and just like trying to say like things like that it was only like a momentum for me really gave me so much strength and so much energy to prove them wrong, because I was like, if I don't do it for myself, I have to do it for those people, and I have to show them that they're wrong, that we're gonna be wrong. So I think like a lot of times like the bad things that happen to us also shape us in a new positive way, you know. I think it's also important to know that in everybody's life there are like positive things that happen to us and negative things that happen to us, and it's really like our reaction to those negative things that really shape the way we are, and they shape the way we want to live our lives. So it's really like how we react to things, because we cannot really decide everything that happens to us, but we can always decide how to react to things, you know.
Yeah, it's so great listening to you, especially when it comes to your challenging situations. And I like a lot that you say, okay, I wanted to improve the people wrong. That's a great ambition and also motivation. And I have to laugh a little bit because, Caro, I think you know all these situations, especially when you are part of a big company, you are part of a big corporation, and maybe you can share your difficult or challenging times and what helped you the most. Okay, you are on mute, Caro.
Okay, this had to happen. Okay, once it had to happen. It had to happen to me. Of course, I had a lot of difficult moments also during my work or my life, and I think one of the most difficult things is when you have a plan and you try to do something and it changes completely. And because suddenly it doesn't work anymore, or because suddenly you feel it's not right. So for me, one of the biggest changes was that I'm doing today something which is not at all what I wanted to do in the beginning. So I really changed completely from becoming a journalist with really focus on international relations and politics. Today I'm in the beauty industry and heading Lancôme. So for me, the most important is exchange. I need exchanges with my friends, with my colleagues, with mentors, for example, so that I can get stimulation and inspiration. So this is what helps me to be strong in difficult situations, to be strong in situations where I'm asking myself if it's right or wrong what I'm doing, or in situations where I'm asking myself, should I change my life? Should I go for this or not? Should I go abroad for taking a new job or not? Or should I stay in my comfort zone where I was before in Paris? I went to Germany. So for me, really, one important topic or one important thing is the network. My own network that I have, with whom can I talk about what? A bit what perhaps also Chiara says when she says, okay, I'm going to see a therapist because he opens things, he shows me things that I don't see myself or that I don't see when I talk to my family or to my friends. So I think that this is one thing that everybody should try to see who helps me when and on which topics.
Yeah, it's a great summary. And sometimes it's a therapist, and sometimes it's a good friend or a coach or your colleague. So it's very great what you have said. I wanted to say we receive a lot of statements here. For example, Tatiana said, fascinated personalities. I'm very impressed. Often beautiful women have it very difficult in business, and many people are jealous on these powerful women because they are successful and positive. It's hard work to combine career and family. That's true. But I wanted to drop some questions into our panel discussion because I think the people want to know a lot about you, Chiara, and also about you, Caro. Mihai said, through your work, you are paving the way for younger women, Chiara, in a beautiful way. What is the responsibility you see in your work towards the younger generation? Great question.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I think, it's so great where so many people think that towards, I like me and people that were doing what I do basically really created a new kind of job for a lot of other people. We created it for ourselves, but then so many other people starting doing the same things. It's like the beauty of like the social media world that like change the rules for everybody and for like every brand, and so many new professions like arise. And so I'm very happy to be one of them and just to really like show a lot of people that for me, a lot of things that I did was like really like one first, the first time I did a Vogue cover, the first time I was at Harvard, the first time I was on like Forbes list. It was really like making it possible for a lot of other people, like I did it. And so many other people after me are going to be able to do the kind of same things, so that was very important. And I feel responsibility. It's nice because I feel like I'm always myself, and I always try to be very honest on social media as well. Like it seems like I have a perfect life, and I do in some ways, like I have a very beautiful life. I'm super blessed. But at the same time, like everybody else, I have like moments where I feel down, where I feel scared, or where I feel weak. It happens to everybody. So I think my responsibility also with the younger generation is really to tell them the truth, just like to really like empower them to really make their own decision, to really try to find a job that really fulfills them, but at the same time to really tell them that nobody's always happy, nobody's always like positive, nobody's always have it together. Like even to become the woman that I am right now, but now a lot of the things I have it together, like in these like years. But at the beginning, I was just like, I didn't know what I was doing. And it's normal, like there are steps in life where you don't know what you're doing, but you have to just like trust your instinct and do it. And eventually, I think your questions, they found answers like in the long term, but you have to just like trust your instinct and trust yourself to really do it. Because I feel like so many people, especially with the social media world, it's so easy for people to see other like everybody else like having more fun than they're doing, being more successful than they are, being like prettier. And social media, it's amazing for a lot of things, but it's kind of bad for that, because it really shows you that it gives you the wrong impression that everybody like have more than you have. So I think it's important to like look at it from another perspective. And from my point of view, since I have so many followers, I think it's important to, show them like the best side of social media and best side of my life, but also like share things that make me sad or share things that I'm passionate about. It's not only showing the perfect life, and really telling people like, nobody has a perfect life. I don't even have a perfect life, and I don't feel perfect. And everything I have, I earn it in time. It didn't happen like overnight. So I think it's important, and my responsibility to be very truthful to all my followers.
Yeah, it's so great what you said. Like it doesn't happen about time, and it took a lot of time. Yeah, and as we can see, if you trust in yourself, you can be the best version of yourself. Caro, Chiara said sometimes it's very difficult, and it's also her responsibility to show like also not the best sides of her life, also the baddest sides of her life. You as a woman in a corporate environment, what kind of responsibility do you feel when it comes to the younger generation? Because I know that there are a lot of people looking at you as a role model, like, okay, she made it, maybe I can make it too. So what kind of responsibility do you see when it comes to the younger, especially female generation?
I think one important thing that Chiara said at the beginning, which was when she started, she believed that she could make it. So I think that today, one issue that we have with a lot of women, this is why we say we want to empower them, it is they don't really believe in what they can do. And so my role today is in the company, but also in my personal life, where I can be a mentor, is really to tell people or to tell young women, first of all, know what makes you happy, know what you want, and it might be different from what your friend wants, what your mom wants. I have a very happy life, even if my mom thinks I'm crazy. But know what makes you happy, and then have the courage and be confident that you can make it. And this is what I'm trying to show. It is that if you have an idea, if you have a plan, if you have something that you really want to do in your life, you can do it. You just have to put everything on this and to stick to it. It's not overnight. There will always be backlashes, there will always be situations where you will fall down, but every time you get up, you will have learned something and you will be stronger than before. And so for me, this is one thing: know what makes you happy, what you want, and then have the courage and the confidence to do it. And don't be shy to ask for help. This is why, again, I say, have a network, have people who support you, because honestly, alone, I don't know who alone in his life, has the success that he or she wants. I think everything is a teamwork, and you have to surround you with the people who will help you, and don't be shy to say something went wrong, or I don't know how I can continue here. For me, this was one of the most difficult things to do, to ask for help, because I always said, I can make it, I'm strong enough, but you're not always in that situation. And don't be shy, ask people to help you, ask to get a mentor, ask somebody who perhaps has already gone through the situation you're in. And for me, these would be the things that I would recommend, and the things that I try to live. And I show them it's possible to organize professional and personal life, even if you're, for example, I'm a single mom. I have a single mom, I have a son, he's 7 years old. Of course, he is very important in my life, but he also has to deal with my job and my ambitions that make me happy in my professional life. So I'm always trying to show that everyone's human, me too, but you can succeed if you really want it and if you believe in you.
And it's not about perfection, right? So it's
No.
also about the not perfect times and not perfect situations. And as you mentioned before, asking for help is a real game changer, as I experienced it. And it's also a game changer when you say, okay, no toxic people in my life, in business and also in private. It's really an eye opener. So we received a lot of other questions. Chiara, you mentioned before, like, balancing work and life and work and family, and you also highlighted the importance of your mental health. And Eva asked here, are you strict with working hours when it comes to spending time with your family?
Yes and no. So it really depends. Like I have a very like funny job. Like it's really like every day is different. So there are days I try to really like keep it very balanced. For me, it's easier than a lot of other people because I'm my own boss. So of course I have more decisional power in my schedule. But then there are also a lot of things like job commitments that I have to do. So of course there are like travels that I have to do for work. There are like meetings that I have to do, things that I have to do. So like one day I'd love to just be with my babies all day, but I mean, there are things that I have to do, of course. So I really try to balance it well. So there are like weeks where there are days where I have to work more and there are days where I can like spend the whole day with my family. So for me, I really like every week I try to, if I can on a normal like day in Milano, in my hometown, is really like half day in the office or doing work and half day with the kids. But then there are days where I work really all day, and there are travel days where I'm gone for like 4 or 5 days and I'm traveling the whole time, I'm working the whole time. And then there are days where there are times where I take like 3 or 4 days off just completely with my kids. So for me, it's really like about knowing what I have to do for my job and that I have to be professional and I have to be like myself 100%. So even when I travel, sometimes if I'm very busy, I don't even think about bringing them with me because I would be too busy working and I wouldn't be like I wouldn't give my 100% self, you know? So for me, it's better to do when I'm working full time. And when I'm with them, I'm really present and I'm really like enjoying being with them and I'm not on a call or doing something like that. So for me, it works. I mean, there are days where, of course, like you'd rather do something else and you'd rather be with your kids, but you have job commitments. So that is also very important. So it's not really for me about working hours because really I'm my own boss, but it's really like about balancing every week of my life as much as I can, you know. And there are weeks where I'm gonna work more, and there are gonna be weeks when I can be more with my family.
And also like handling with your energy, right? You have to be also fully present when it comes to your events or on social media or with your kids, with your family. So I can imagine sometimes it's really hard and difficult, but as you said, you are your own
Yeah.
boss. And I
Yeah, I
like
mean,
the
for
idea
me,
of
like, I have like a very privileged situation compared to most women, you know, like I'm super aware of that. So I try to never make a deal out of it.
yeah.
But of course, there are situations when I've traveled and I have to do something else. And then maybe, especially before COVID, but now it's like starting
Mhm.
like thankfully to like happen again, but you have to meet a lot of people and you have to have a high spirit and high energy and maybe you're super
Mhm.
tired or you would just like to be with your kids, you know. But that is about being professional, you know. When
Yeah.
you're working and you have to really like keep it all together as much as you can, you know.
Yeah.
So I think like, I mean, when there were times when I was like too tired and something, I was on set and I didn't give my 100%. I felt very guilty after because I really try to like be my 100% in everything I do. So I mean, some things are like more fun to do than others. Like events, when you meet people, maybe it's more fun than just like being on a set all day. But you have to be professional in everything you do, I think. So I try to do that. And then, of course, I mean, some days I'm still not gonna be my 100%, but I try.
And I like the idea of like being fully present when you're working and being fully present when you're with your kids. I think
Yeah.
that kind of advice helps a lot. And we received a lot of other questions, Caro. Maybe one for you because it's a one for all around here. A question for all of you from Kerstin. What advice would you give to your younger self?
Go for it. Be more courageous. I think this is what, if I look back, it's perhaps a thing that I was a bit hesitant, and where today I would say to my younger self, be more courageous, go for it, don't hesitate too much, don't be afraid, and because what you learn, but only with time, is that in the end you're much stronger than you believed you are. And unfortunately, this is something that comes with time, because with time you go through situations that in the beginning you think you will never go through it, and then you manage them. So you learn about yourself. And what I learned about myself is that I'm much stronger than what I thought I would be. So I think that I could have been more courageous when I was younger. Okay, I'm not unhappy with my life, But I would really say, not only to my younger self, but to all young women, believe in yourself. You are stronger than what you think, much more than you think.
So great to hear. Chiara, I have another question for you from Ronja. It's a very interesting question. So although I am working very much and hard, I sometimes come home and feel like a total loser and that everyone is doing better. I think we all know these kind of situations. Do you also feel like that from time to time? And what are you doing to not feel overwhelmed and like an imposter?
So I had a lot of this like imposter syndrome when I was like at the very beginning. So at the beginning, I was like super, like at one part of me was really happy of what I was doing. Then the other part of me was like really like giving me bad thoughts and really like telling me, like, I remember I was feeling so ashamed when people would compliment me, which was so crazy. Like now I'm like super happy if somebody compliments me. And sometimes I even think, I mean, I think I deserve them, you know, like I'm just like, yeah, it's like, thank you, but like, I'm happy, you know, and I appreciate them. But at the beginning, compliments where people were complimenting me, especially when they were saying, oh my God, you're a genius, you're doing something completely new. I felt so ashamed. Like I felt like they were exaggerating so much. And I was like, it was really like, they're giving me so much more than what I am right now, you know? And that really gave me so much like fear and anxiety, because I was really thinking like, oh my God, like I'm not like everybody has like standards, like too high standards for me than what I have, like, and what I can do. So it happened to me. And I think you have to just really like, I think one thing that really like helped me was really like a stupid motto, but helps so much, really like fake it till you make it. Really, you have to convince yourself of then it's happening and that it's all true, you know. When people compliment you and I mean, at the beginning I was like super ashamed, and then I started to think, okay, maybe they're right, maybe there's like something right, or I'm gonna act like they're right. I'm not even gonna question it, you know. I think it's so important. Like when I was younger, I was like having so many questions about myself, about my life, if I was doing something right or wrong. And I think we all think about so many questions in life, when actually you have to just like let it go and let it happen and not think about things too much, really not be anxious about things. That's also like one of advice that I would say to my younger self, really not think about things so much, because things, most of the time, things are much easier than what they appear to be, you know. When you're younger, you think people are constantly talking about you, thinking about you, questioning you, but most of the time they have the same fear and anxiety we do have, and they're not just like talking about you all the time, you know. That's something we fear. So it's really like we all have the same kind of fears. We all are scared of the same things at the end of the day, you know. So I think it's really, really important to just like focus on that. And when even now, now it happens like less, but really sometimes you feel like, okay, maybe I don't know, maybe I'm not as strong as I think I am and stuff. But really, you have to just like look at your life in the complex, you know, like everything you have achieved, everything you worked on, everything you've struggled with, really, and you're so much stronger. You went through all of this and you were successful. So you really have to focus on that. Really look at the bigger picture, not only focus on what doesn't make you feel good in that specific moment. And also, if there is something specific, I think it's also very important to focus on what doesn't make us feel good, you know. Was it something like, is it social media? Is it looking at other people and thinking they're more successful than us? Is it like a comment that somebody made on us? Is it like our colleague? So really like understand what makes us less happy, you know, and work on that, work to eliminate or to not have it as important in our life, you know. Sometimes you have to eliminate toxic people or toxic things or toxic behaviors or toxic habits as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And as you mentioned before, also write it down, right? Also your mini successful steps, and look at them and then say to yourself, okay, I can be proud. So don't focus on the difficult times, focus more on your successful baby steps. Caro, I received a question for you from Sigrid, and she said, Caroline, could you tell us a little bit more about your career? How did you get where you are?
I can, Sigrid, I can. So as I said, my plan was completely different. I wanted to become a journalist, and a bit through luck, or I don't know, I came to do an internship in L'Oréal in Germany at that time. And as I was, or still am, a very curious person, and I was questioning myself at that time, do I really want to become a journalist or not? I said, okay, grab the opportunity, go and see for yourself what it's like. And then I went for the internship. It was fantastic. So I loved it. I loved to do something completely different than what I was supposed to do. And a bit by luck also, I got a contract then to start in L'Oréal. And perhaps one important thing that happened to me, and again I was very lucky. I had a mentor from the beginning of my work career who helped me not only at the beginning but throughout my whole career. Because to be honest, when you start a new job, at least for me, it was like this. I came from university, and the most important thing when I arrived in Germany, in Düsseldorf, where L'Oréal is, was to screen all the bars, the nightclubs, to think about where would I do my next trips. So I was not thinking about the very important question, where do you want to be in 10 years with your career? So I was a bit naive, and I had this great mentor who was there at the beginning, who guided me, who motivated me, who challenged me also, and who showed me a bit the way, but who also told me, and I think this is also something that Chiara said, you have to like what you do. So, when I did my internship, I came there and I said, okay, let's see how it will work out. And I saw I love what I'm doing at L'Oréal. So then I started there, but I was always guided by, do I like what I'm doing or not? And then I had different opportunities to change the jobs. I had the opportunity to go to Paris with L'Oréal, which is an advantage with big companies, big international companies that you have. With one job came the next one, always very, very interesting people I met. And I think my career up to today is a mixture of course, there is a bit of performance because otherwise I wouldn't be where I am today. But it is a lot about who you're working with, the network that you're building yourself. That I know I keep telling it, but it's really an important thing that I want to tell you all, because it's those people who sometimes make you change or make you ask the right questions for taking the next job, or like Chiara said, sometimes saying no, this job, I'm not sure that I will be happy with it, so I'm not sure I will be good at it. And so I arrived at the job where I'm today. And what I love is apart from the brands, the products that we have, is that L'Oréal is a very team-oriented company. So we always work in big teams. I'm a people lover. I love to lead teams. I love to be part of teams. And this is how I came to who and what I am today. But a lot helped by what makes me happy, saying no, and being accompanied by people who believed in me and who helped me. Does this answer the question?
Absolutely, perfect. Thank you so much. And again, very openly. And you said you love your team, but I think, and I know that your team loves you too. So, and so much. And Mavi has a question for you both. And I wanted to start with Chiara. She said, question for both. When you would restart today, what would you do different? Or what would you do all the same again? Any regrets?
I think I would do it all the same. I think I don't know. Like if I did it differently, I don't know if what I achieved would be the same. So like there are just like a few like collaborations that maybe I didn't love 100%. Maybe one that I say maybe I wouldn't do it again. Maybe I would be less naive in trusting my partners, because you always have to, sometimes you put you love somebody and you trust them so much, but when it's business, you always have to be like professional under that point of view as well. So maybe I wouldn't trust some people 100% as I did. But apart from that, I think I would redo it over again. I just would like to enjoy more what I'm doing, because I started really enjoying it in the past years. While in the first years I loved it, but I was also very scared of it. So there was not a time that I remember before 2013. So from 2009 to 2013, I remember it was always this balance. So I was half happy, half sad of what I was doing. So, and then I understood how to really enjoy things and experiences. So now it's amazing, there are things that are difficult and stuff, but I love what I'm doing. I enjoy it so much. Well, before I loved it, but I always had a lot of fears as well. So I would have loved to enjoy it more, especially when I was super young and everything was so new.
And thank you again for the hint when it comes to choosing the right partner on your side. Sometimes it's about your private life, sometimes it's about your business life. So trust only the people who are really empowering you and cheering up to you. Caro, also the question for you, do you regret something or everything fine?
Well, it's a very philosophical question. But of course, I don't regret anything because I'm very happy with the life that I have today. Would I have would I have done some things differently? Perhaps now that I'm looking back, I'm asking myself, did I grab all the opportunities that I had? But then at the same time, you take decisions at a certain, you are in a certain situation, you take a decision. It's about your mental health. It's about your emotional health. So it's not a decision that you take from scratch on a piece of paper. So I think that sometimes perhaps I didn't see the opportunity, or sometimes I said no, and at that point it was right, even if today I give you a concrete example. I had at one point, I had two opportunities with my job. One was to go to China, one was to go to New York. Both times I said no out of personal reasons. So I didn't stay with the partners I had at that time. So afterwards I said, I could have gone. It wouldn't have changed my personal life. But at the moment I had to take the decision, I wasn't ready. I wanted to stay. I was in a relationship. I didn't want to give it up. And so it was the right decision at that moment. Even if today I say, okay, it was a pity because it would have been perhaps a nice experience. But to close the topic, I think regrets are like a poison for your life, because in the end you can't change it. So I try not to have regrets. I try to live my life to the fullest. Perhaps sometimes even too much, and I am happy with what I have. And I think, don't think too much, don't regret too much. Look forward and see if there's something where you say, I regret it a little bit. Try to see, can't I do it now? Can't I? I still have a future ahead of me. Is it something that I want to do now? Can I do it? And that would be my conclusion. So all in all, no real regrets in my life.
Perfect answer. Thank you so much, Caro. Chiara, do you have any role models?
Yes, yes and no. It's not. It's always hard to pick one, because I'm really inspired by so many people that I meet, so many people that I met for the years, so many people I follow on social media that are great activists, or they really stand for their values and stuff. So I appreciate a lot of people. I don't have just one specific role model. It's hard. One of the person that I met that I really love was Maria Grazia Curie, creative director at Dior. since the first moment I met her, I loved her so much, because I love that, like, with what she's doing, she's really like sharing a good, important message. She's really trying to elevate women, trying to make them feel like successful, trying to really like give them the power they deserve, you know. So she's one of my role models, but also my mom is one of my role models, and so many other people. Some of my friends are my role models, you know. It's really like hard to just pick one.
And Jeanne asks, Chiara, what is your mantra, the one thing you tell you every day that makes you happy?
So one of my mantra is nobody queues for a flat roller coaster. So it's really like that you have to really be appreciative of the ups and downs of your life, because like it's what makes our life exciting and makes our life like our life, you know. So you don't always have to, you cannot think you're going to be happy full time. It's all ups and downs, you know, and you have to really understand also and appreciate the sad moments, or the moments where you're hurt, because they really like shape you in the person you're going to be in the next years, you know. So it's really important to understand that we all do have ups and downs, and if you were fully happy, you would be so bored. Like, it's not something you want for yourself as well, you know. You really have to have that kind of personality that really adapts to the ups and downs, and really like when something goes wrong, you just like, your mind is already okay, what can I do now, without like staying there like sad all time, or just like struggling with what happened, because really what we can only control is like how we react to things that happen to us.
Okay, I received a very funny question about lipsticks, but before that, I wanted to drop in another question from Ronja to you both, but I want to start with you, Caroline. Your life looks super glamorous and relaxed. However, I think your success is based on really great self-discipline. Do you have any advice to get better self-discipline and to overcome your weaker self? Caro.
So first of all, the life might look super glamorous and relaxed. It's not always the case, but I think a lot has to do with your inner mindset. How do you take your life? How do you take problems that you might encounter every day? And I think one really important thing that happened to me years ago, I was working on Maybelline, so an American brand, also within L'Oreal, and I had a lot of meetings with Americans. And at one point, an American told me, you know, you Frenchies, you Germans, you Europeans, you always look on the things that you can't do. You know, it's never perfect, it's never enough. Whereas we Americans, you know, we try to enforce or reinforce where you're strong at. We try to encourage you to, you know, to go out and to live your strengths, and not always look at how can I improve where I'm not that good at. And for me, this was really, it was like an eye opener, because I said, it's true. It's true. We never, you know, we never give the best note, for example, at school. We always say it's good, but, and what helped me at one point is that I said, okay, where am I strong at? What are my talents? Every one of us has talents, different ones, but everyone has talents. And what are the things where I'm not that good at, or I don't really like? So don't try to improve or to focus on these things, on the weaker parts. Try to see, what am I good at? What can I do? What do I like to do? And then focus on them. And I think this gives you, you need a lot of discipline to work on your weaknesses. You need much less if you concentrate on your strengths. And for me today, it's important, and it's what I say to all my team members. I say, if you have to, you know, if you have to improve yourself, try to choose 1, 2, 3 strengths. You try to even get better, and then you try to find one thing where you try to improve.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then you really get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Chiara, do you want to add something? The question was, do you have any advice to get better self-discipline and to overcome your weaker self?
I mean, I'm super like I love what Caroline said. It's so important to really focus on what we're good at because that's like how when you always look for others, like you're never gonna be. You never have to really compare yourself to others. Also, because everybody has a different story, everybody has a different background. It's so much easier, I think, to compare yourself now to what you used to be, in the past. So I think that is also very helpful. Like sometimes I feel like, oh my God, why am I still not doing this right? But then you really have to like, okay, but like myself like of 3 years ago could have never done this. Also, like I learned to do this, I learned to do that, I learned to be independent in it's really, you have to focus on how you're growing, and that's like I think it has to be one of your goals to always get better at dealing with yourself and your life. So when you compare to others, you're never going to be happy, because you're always going to look at things that you don't have or that you're not happy about yourself. And probably those people would do the same with you, so it's really like never like a good idea to do that.
So the last question is a really special one, but I wanted to share the question with you, Caroline. Starting with you, what's your favorite lipstick? I think I know that.
Of course, of course.
And maybe we share the same flavor.
My favorite lipstick is, of course, Absolute Rouge of Lancôme. And the color that I really like is the 282. So it's a colorful lipstick, not as red as yours, Tijen, which, by the way, I love because you are my red lipstick user. But that's at the moment my preferred lipstick. But to be very honest, as for fragrances, I change very regularly and I put it with what I'm wearing. So of course, I'm not always wearing the same shade. But today it would be that.
And for me, wearing a lipstick, especially the red ones, it gives me like, the feeling of a superpower. Yeah, when I feel like very down or sad, I'm like, okay, putting the lipstick on, and then I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to rock. So maybe just to highlight this one too, Chiara, I saw that you have in your hand.
Yeah, I didn't remember the number because I knew the name. I love L'Absolu Rouge. There is one that is Mademoiselle Chiara because it's my perfect shade. And it's the number 259. It was like, I have to check the number in my bag. So this one is like the perfect nude. And it's also what I'm wearing right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's my favorite of the moment. And then I also change a lot, but I love the nudes a lot. I love the red, but for like sets sometimes for like events. But for my everyday, I love like a good strong nude.
So we have the perfect combination of nude and red lipsticks, and the people were freaking out here at the chat. They were like, thank you so much. You are real role models. Thanks for being so honest and open about your career path. Thank you again, Chiara.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Next time, I would say we can meet in Milano.
Yes, I love that.
Great idea.
Yeah, come to Milano. So beautiful.
And we will visit you, Chiara, and bring all
please.
our community to you and your community. So thank you so much again.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you to everybody who asked questions and who are here listening to us.
Grazie mille, Chiara. It was a pleasure.
Grazie, Caroline.
Follow us on social media. I think you already follow Chiara, but follow Lancôme, GDW, Global Digital Women, and us on LinkedIn and Twitter and also Instagram. So it was so great, and stay fresh and healthy, and trust yourself. Bye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.